Just a reminder before today's programme that Millionaire fans can check out our view on the celebrity specials and why, in our humble opinion, they simply do not work. And now, here on AMTV, it's been highly anticipated, so it's finally time to react and review Quiz. Hi there guys, it's Adam Martyn here, and welcome back to the video for Thursday. And today, as it's been hotly anticipated, we're going to be talking about Quiz. That's right, the ITV three-part drama that took a look at the infamous coughing scandal on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So for anyone who isn't familiar, Quiz was originally a stage play that was put on in 2017 before getting a West End transfer. Now unfortunately I didn't get to see the stage show, very sad I didn't, but when they announced it was coming to the TV screens, I was very much excited. And I think in the build-up I had very mixed feelings about it. So, you know, would Michael Sheen be a good Chris Tarrant? How was this story going to be told? How are they going to do it over 3 episodes, 3 hour-long episodes? But on the whole, I've been quite surprised. So what I've done is similar to the Doctor Who review. I've got a bunch of notes on my phone from each episode, and I'm going to go through each of the 3 and just talk to you about it. But before I do, just bear in mind there are massive spoilers for each part of Quiz. So if you haven't seen it yet, do go and catch up on it. It's on the ITV hub and will be for a while. But if you don't want to watch it, you don't have to. But if you don't want spoilers, don't watch now. So, episode 1, I absolutely loved seeing the history of Millionaire coming to screens. Right from the get-go, we've got the cellar door people coming into ITV and explaining we're going to do this game show called Cash Mountain, which is what it was originally called, and how the lifelines were called Helping Hands. Just all those little bits and pieces that I guess people who really love Millionaire already know, but to see it played out on screen is absolutely fantastic. It reminds you that Millionaire used to be event TV, like they were describing. I mean, £1 million back in 1998 had never been given out before on TV. That's why it was so big, and the drama and the tension, that's why it got, you know, upwards of, at its peak, 19 million viewers. I mean, as they say in the show, that at that time was 1/3 of the population. It's mad. So I just love seeing it all being put together, the history of the show. For someone who likes their history, good job. But I like the setup of the Ingrams as a family. I think what we forget before this drama or the stage play came about is we just sort of saw the Ingrams as these criminals, this family of criminals who just wanted to extort money. And I'm glad the drama didn't just portray them as that, because I think that would have been really unfair. These are actual people with actual lives, with relationships, with feelings, with emotions, and it was nice to see that played out, like the life before Millionaire got involved, like how they worked as a dynamic, and particularly Diana's brother Adrian Pollock, but I'll talk more about him a bit later on. Michael Sheen as Chris Tarrant. Now, when they first announced this, I was very unsure. I mean, Michael Sheen does not look like Chris Tarrant, and even in the final thing, he doesn't really look like Chris Tarrant. However, having seen him, his voice, his mannerisms, his energy is exactly spot on to what Chris Tarrant was. Even down to the little one thing Chris Tarrant does when he's asked a question, which actually sort of leans back a bit and puts like 2 fingers to his mouth like that. And Michael Sheen replicated that spot on. As an actor myself, to see someone embody a character like that was absolutely incredible. So massive, massive props to Michael Sheen for doing a fantastic job. I'll talk more about his performance later, but absolutely spot on. The replica set that they built is absolutely brilliant. I did wonder, I was like, are they going to use the existing set and modify it? But from what we understand from the creative team, they just built a replica set of how it would have been in 2001, and it's pretty spot on, down to the computer screens they had, down to the setup of the audience, everything like that. It was absolutely incredible. So nice job to the creative team on that side. And this is it. It's interesting in episode 1 that they dived into Adrian and the Syndicate. Now, I must admit I had vague knowledge of the Syndicate, or I think they were called the Consortium in real life, about, you know, this guy who helped people get on the show, like mainly middle-class white people. But to delve into that and then to realise how like detailed the operation was quite astounding, that this was going on back in, you know, 1999, 2000, really before Google and the internet was sort of mainstream in everyone's homes by then. And Adrian Pollock, yeah, I was aware of him, you know, being a member of the family, but the lengths he went to, I guess the drama did a really good job at portraying what an obsession or a fantasism can do to someone. You know, Adrian was desperate to get on this show, desperate to do well, that he ran up debts for his business, it caused harm to him and his family. It just really shows the negative sides of wanting something so much that you don't see the cost of it, you know. But him as a character was really interesting, those sort of tendencies. He was a bit strange, he was a bit aloof, how he was going to go into hiding and all this sort of stuff. The fact he made his own fastest finger first device, I mean, that just shows how fanatical he was about getting on the show. So it was a good psychological dive, I think. And as I said, I previously hadn't known the lengths Adrian had gone to get on the show. And I think now knowing that really puts in perspective how you've got to weigh up you know, how you've got to balance everything. And I mean, it's all different now, you can apply online, but back then when you were ringing on the phone and it cost a lot of money to ring on the phone, puts it in perspective. And I love the first cliffhanger, how at the end of the first episode, it's just about to start with Charles Ingram's game on Millionaire. Brilliant first cliffhanger, and I was very excited to see part 2. The only criticism I can say of part 1, I chatted with some friends who also saw it. Some of them thought it was a bit slow, and I see what they mean. I didn't find that myself, but I guess if you're not particularly interested in the history of Millionaire itself, you just want to get to the meat of the trial, then episode 1 is a bit slow, but it is essential to learn about the Ingrams, their dynamics as a family, as a unit, and so on and so forth. So, episode 2, this was primarily focused on Charles Ingram's game of Millionaire, and the first point I've written is, even though we know the game, we've all seen the Martyn Bashir documentary, we've all seen Charles Ingram play, we've all heard the coughs, etc., but somehow it was still incredibly tense to watch. I don't know what it was, just the fact, the way he's flipping between answers when he's on the million question, even though I know he gets it, I was still so tense in my seat. I mean, but that's a result of good editing, good music cues, good use of tension. It was just brilliant to take something that we've all seen, because when did the Bashir documentary come out? Was it 2005? To take something we've seen like that we've known for 15 plus years and make us feel tense is really well done. Congratulations. And the dialogue is spot on, like because I've seen that clip so many times. They've got the words of Ingram and Chris Tarrant right down to a T, and the mannerisms and the delivery of it is just spot on from the two actors who were in the chairs. So that was brilliant. The beats are brilliant, sort of feeding into the tension, and the as I said, yeah, the manner, just that whole sequence of Charles Ingram's game when it's just focused on Ingram and Chris Tarrant. Those two actors are impeccable in terms of their performance. Spot on. And the Glitter Man. Now, I've seen tweets that the Glitter Man was real, and I believe that, but that little scene where he's in his car just jamming out to Jerry Halliwell's version of It's Raining Men, only to get a call and have a brilliant cut to him sprinting across the parking lot. I mean, that was just funny. Like, I don't care whether that didn't happen in real life, if it was just added for drama. That was pure comedy gold. Excellent. Go Glitter Man. And Diana's phone call with Tequin Wittick. Now, this was interesting because, you know, it seems, so it's after Charles Ingram's first night. She sees that Tequin Wittick is going to be in the fastest finger seat, and she's got him as a contact. And they ring, and we don't see the full extent of their conversation. And it feeds into episode 3 later about that this drama really does a good job at looking at both sides, looking at here's how they might be guilty, but here's how they might be innocent. And by not elaborating on the phone call with Tequin Wittick, not hearing what they had to say, we are left to believe, was this the phone call that conspired them to cheat? Or was this a phone call just to say, here you're going to be on the show, great. It's very interesting to delve into. And I love the build of the production team in the show discovering something, where you've got the young sound technician hearing the coughs, and how it all pieces together and how different members hear it and how the reactions and how this was building. And it really pokes at the loopholes of Millionaire at the time, you know, that checks weren't really a thing, mobile phones weren't confiscated. I went to the studio in 2018 and it's so tight, you know, you've got to go through security scanners, everything out your pockets has got to be you've got to take everything out your pockets no matter what it is. If it's like an old tissue, you've got to take it out. It just shows the weaknesses at the time. Obviously, we had another good cliffhanger moment, and again, I've written Michael Sheen is Chris Tarrant. He is Chris Tarrant. Just by that point, by the second episode, I was like, yeah, Michael Sheen's nailed it. He's Chris Tarrant. That's all there is to say. That deserves an award. Serious, definitely deserves an award. Episode 3. Now, this is where a lot of new information came to me. Or it changed a lot of perspective. You've got to keep an open mind with these things. So first off, before we get into the trial side of it, which is the bulk of this episode, the way the Ingrams were treated, both by people and the press, was horrible, quite frankly. Regardless of whether you think they did it or not, or whether they did do it or not. I mean, people coughing at them mockingly, people spitting in their face. Well, in the show it was a dog. Apparently, in real life it was their cat. But their pets being attacked, their children, their young children being bullied at school. I mean, it's awful. It's really awful. And well, I know I wouldn't want to wish that on them. And I hope that this documentary doesn't incite more of that. If anything, I hope it makes us all realise that, in this age of be kind, sadly with the passing of Caroline Flack, that we all really take stock and think about that. And regardless if they're the centre of a crime, if they did commit or not, we really just have to take a bit more stock of that. So in the trial, it goes through what we know. You lead with the prosecution. So it obviously talks about what we know, how they isolated the coughs, and they seem to match up with when the major changes his answer, so on and so forth. That was pretty straightforward, but it was done in a good way for those who aren't as familiar with the trial as, say, I am, or maybe some of you guys are, to really get a grip as to what's going on. The whole tape G theory, how the tape that was shown in court was like the 7th or 8th tape, which had obviously been edited to isolate the coughs. So the defense was sort of trying to poke at that, saying, yeah, but this has been edited to fit your narrative. This is Celador, and the company's trying to frame people. And I see where they're coming from, but you would have thought the police would have. I know the police didn't have the tape originally, but you thought the police would have maybe tried to suspect the companies or investigated further on that. I don't think it was a collusion on that side. But towards the end, the defense, when they led, raised some serious questions. Now, the whole thing about Tequan Wittick having a natural cough, fair enough. But the thing for me was when they brought out the Judith Keppel tape. Now, Judith Keppel was the first winner of the UK Millionaire in 2000. And they play back the footage of Keppel. Michael Sheen still being Chris Tarrant, but they play back the footage. And it seems in this drama that in certain questions, as she reads out the answer that she thinks it is, there's a cough. Now, I never remember hearing coughs in the Judith Keppel run. Granted, the sound wasn't probably isolated, but then if the sound in the tape that was shown in court was isolated, surely you can make the same argument as you did to the Celador team, that the defense team altered it to fit their narrative. Now, I don't know. I haven't watched the Judith Keppel run since. I probably should have, but I will do so, and I will listen for coughs. But that raised some big questions, and there were points where I thought, oh God, like maybe, what if they were framed? What if they were innocent? I mean, because Charles Ingram wasn't a dumb man. I think we all have this illusion that Charles Ingram's just this idiot. On the first night he didn't do too well, therefore he's stupid. Well, think about the questions he was deemed stupid on. One of them was on Coronation Street, I think, or one of the soaps. And it was, a current thing at the time, and he didn't know the answer. But in all fairness, I didn't know the answer. I wouldn't have known it. Does that make me stupid? I don't think so. It's more pop culture. So I don't believe Charles Ingram is a dumb man. I mean, he got into Mensa, for goodness sake, which, for the IQ test, which is the top 2% of intelligence in the UK. So he's not a dumb man by any means. Helen McCrory was brilliant to watch as well as the lead member for the defense. She's captivating, she's engaging, she hooks your attention. You can't look away from her, and she stole the show in episode 3 for me. At the end of it all, at the end of all this, I sort of was reflecting, and I thought, do I think they did it? And I think yes, I think they did. For me, there is still a few plot holes. So in the defence's side, they argue, I think it's the £500,000 question, where the major is really convinced it's Berlin when the answer's Paris. And there's a cough, and straight after the cough, you hear a no, a muttered no. Again, the sound's been isolated, and the defence's argument is, with various microphones, in the studio, and various people coughing, they argue that the cough no could have been anyone sort of muttering it to themselves. And at first I thought, okay, fair enough. But for me, the major changing his mind is just too quick. you watch the tape, he hears it, and then instantly changes from hearing it. And for me, that just, stuff like that really nails it. It's like, no, there's no way someone who's that assertive in one moment would change their mind. I just don't believe it. The ending of it, however, of the drama does leave the Ingrams with some intensity. It's not a doom and gloom thing. They're sort of saying, well, you know, they're going it together as a team, and they are still together as husband and wife, which I think is good for their family. It did make me sad to realise that, you know, these past 15 years we've all essentially been mocking them in one way or another. And I think, if anything, this drama brings, whether it brings them a case of appeal or something like that, I do think that needs to stop. This whole notion of attacking them for something that, yes, they were convicted for, but some would argue there's reasonable doubt. We just need to let it lie. If they've committed a crime, let them serve their time, pay their punishments, and let's be done with it. Let's not hold grudges. Let's not be cruel. Let's be kind. But those are my thoughts on Quiz. I mean, overall, it was brilliant. I mean, to get 3-hour-long episodes to tell this story was a big feat, but they did it remarkably. The acting was brilliant from all the principal cast. The pacing was excellent. The history tidbits of Millionaire were wonderful for people like me. To delve into the trial on both sides, to actually make someone like me, who thought I was pretty sure they did it, to even begin to question that, and maybe that they were innocent. Brilliant. Great drama, great writing, great script, great direction, great acting. It was just a brilliant show, and if you're a Millionaire fan in any way, I highly, highly recommend that you go and watch Quiz as soon as possible, because I don't think you'll be disappointed in any way. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe, leave a like on it, and comment down below. Did you enjoy Quiz? Do you believe the Ingrams are guilty? Do you believe that they're innocent? Let me know your thoughts on the whole thing in the comments section below. Thank you very much for watching, and until the next one, I will see you guys next time. Well, that does bring us to a close this evening on AMTV. We do hope you enjoyed the programme, and please do keep your eyes open for brand new content that will be coming to you soon. Until then, have a very good week, and we hope that you join us again soon. Good night.